welcome back to my Struggling Calathea Collection series. Today we are looking at plant number 5. This is my Crimson Picturata. I say that with some hesitancy. There's been a lot of controversy and comments if the Picturata Crimson is an actual thing. Is it really a Rosio Picta? You know, I bought it as a Picturata Crimson. I'm just gonna leave it there for today and we'll get to naming conventions at some other time. This plant is another victim of the plant room, meaning that it was in not ideal conditions. It had too much humidity, an inability to dry out the leaves. And then when it came out of the plant room, it did start to have some rather vigorous growth that is now all dead. It has slowly been pushed away from its light source to the point where I think that a lot of what's wrong with the plant is a lack of light paired with an inability and lack of energy to fend off spider mites. And on top of that, the last thing I think that occurred, and it didn't just occur with this plant, in 2020 during the summer, I could no longer get everything I needed to make my own soil. And so I started getting a store-bought soil and just amended it. Now, I also did not sterilize the soil before I used it. And this was a mistake because the soil smells gross. I don't know any other way to put it. I think it was a bad batch. And of course, it is what I used to repot a number of my Calathea with. So today we need to get this plant out of its soil. I just watered the other day. If you can't tell, it is usually watering time right before I tend to film during the week. So that might work to our advantage in getting some of the soil away from the roots. I'm gonna cut away all of the kind of dead debris, and I'm gonna cut away actually a lot of the leaves that look like they've been injured. I'm gonna get it into some new soil. I'm gonna wipe away any existing spider mites, and then I'm going to get some neem oil. I'm just gonna mix it up really quick in water, and I'm going to wipe the leaves down to prevent any future spider mites from wanting to get on the plant. So let's get started. I am gonna do two things that you don't see on camera. The first is I'm gonna be moving this plant to an area where it gets indirect bright light from a northern window. I'm also gonna cluster it with my Fucata and my white tiger, which, just a hint, next week is my white tiger's Calathea Collection in Shambles series spot, I guess you would say. But I'm gonna cluster them there, and I'm gonna use what you've probably seen me use if you've watched the channel, and if not, One way that I kick up humidity without just bringing out a ton of humidifiers is just using a basic oil diffuser without oil in it. And I have tested it myself, and in terms of where the plants are, it will elevate the humidity. Not a ton, but it does actually seem to have an effect on my plants. I have not scientifically tested this aside from just measuring the humidity in kind of an ambient setting in terms of air, and it seems to work. So we're gonna do that. You won't see it in the video, but when I do some videos moving on through the collection as I'm repairing it, I will follow up as I did just this last time with how my plants are doing, what they look like, what's the progress. So I hope that this video either was in some way beneficial to you, or at least like was interesting to you as a Calathea lover or just a plant lover in general. If you have any advice, any tips, ideas, leave those in the comments too. I'm always collecting these kind of little pearls of wisdom that get dropped there. Until then, be well and take care.